Mr. Yasser is a licensed professional engineer working in the area of clean energy, energy efficiency, and industrial productivity since 2007. He has successfully initiated and led many successful power projects all over his career trajectory. So over to Mr. Ahmed Amar Yasser.
Thank you, Ahmad sir. I hope my screen is visible. So, I mean, the world over here is connecting SMEs to climate finance. So, all of us have witnessed what has transpired in Pakistan in 2022 regarding the floods. Similar episode repeated to certain part of the country in 2023 as well. So I believe climate change, as far as Pakistanis are concerned, require no further elaboration. It's a reality for us. So when we look at climate change and what we need to do about it, a major initiative that is already budding in the world is investments in clean energy domain. So what these investments requirement are, as per IRENA, and they published their recent numbers. By 2025, we need to mobilize over 5 trillion US dollar. And here is the details of those numbers. We need to mobilize huge investments in the area of renewable energy generation, solar thermal, grids, energy efficiency, e-mobility, heat pumps, hydrogen, carbon capture, bioenergy. And the good news is that investment is already increasing. These are the trends in the area of solar energy. Over the last decade, if you can see from 125 billion US dollar a year, we are last year the world is able to mobilize 308 billion US dollar a year. So is the case of wind energy from 72 billion US dollar to 174 billion US dollar. So what is the reason of increase of investment? Have we become more conscious of our environment? I would like to believe so, but there is another dimension to it. What is that dimension? The average cost of solar PV over the last decade has declined by 88%. Offshore wind, 68%, 60%. Onshore wind, 68%. Even during the last year, 2022-2021, solar's overall price declined by 13%, offshore wind 13%, onshore wind 15%, concentrated solar power increased by 7%. So one of the major driver of this increase in investment level in these technology is the reduction of the price of these technologies. So who is driving reduction of these price? It's, I believe, most of the people, more the type of the people we are having in this webinar. I'm just putting forth in front of you screenshot of the startups who have been able to mobilize finance in last quarter in the area of clean energy, wind, solar photovoltaic, solar thermal, dispatchable energy in the area of nuclear, geothermal, hydropower, clean fuels, hydrogen, grid infrastructure. In just last quarter, these startups globally raised 5.4 billion US dollar. Another dimension of clean energy transition, carbon tech, carbon capture, biological carbon removal, green mining, lithium-ion battery recycling, green manufacturing, circularity. We will be listening about these technologies in today's webinar. The startups in this area in just last quarter have been able to mobilize 3.4 billion US dollar. Mobility, e-vehicles, fleet management, public transportation solutions, 5 billion US dollar in last quarter alone. Then we try to take example out in our context as well. Look at the ecosystem of e-mobility alone in India. How many players are there? And how many players are trying to bust the myth of e-mobility in India? And they have been able to do that in the area of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and increasingly in the area of four-wheelers. Now, I would like to bring your attention. So, I mean, the case is that investments in the area of clean energy are increasing. At the heart of it is the technology transformation, which is driven by startups like we have in our today's webinar. But there is one important dimension of this overall ecosystem, and that is this financing side of energy transformation. As we are looking to more efficient, disruptive technologies to make this transition happen, we need to have more efficiency, more innovation in the area of financing as well. I mean, we all know that for a successful business, financing is required. But what kind of financing? How much financing? When is that financing is required? And how efficient the capital is going to be used. So financing is another dimension in which innovation is required so that this disruption may not be halted by lack of financing. And innovation in the area of financing can support this transformation that we have at hand. And I mean, because I am getting old myself, so it's black and white pictures that appeal me more. This is a picture of Edison, and this is a picture, this picture might be more popular nowadays. This is a picture of Nikola Tesla. We know the accomplishment of both in our discourse when we undertake our startup journeys. But there is one common denominator behind the successes of both of these individuals. JP Morgan, that person was the one innovative enough to structure their financing so that Edison can establish first DC-based public lighting system in New York, whereas Nikola Tesla, through his technology, was able to transmit power from Niagara Falls to New York. So both of these successes has one common denominator, JP Morgan, who was financier of both of these individuals. And now, I mean, in nowadays, if you look at Apple, Steve Jobs, if you look at Microsoft, you will find, if you look at even Tesla, BYD, you will find today's JP Morgan behind these successes, we have financing these businesses. And this is exactly what PFAN does. PFAN is a private finance advisory network, which is a global network of climate and clean energy financing experts. We offer free business coaching and investment facilitation to entrepreneurs in developing climate and clean energy projects in emerging markets like Pakistan. PFAN in Pakistan has the name of Pakistan Private Sector Energy Activity. We are being exclusively funded by USAID. It's a 4-year project. We are here till September 2024. We have country dedicated team. We have a local advisory and partner network. And we have undertaking upstream activities via an SME incubator. You will be hearing from some of these incubators today. And we have certain downstream activities like a PE fund to arrange financing for these companies. And we are working with other initiatives and government entities as well. Our target is by September 2024, we leverage $80 million. And we are quite confident that we will be able to achieve that. As you can see from our pipeline, we have 48 projects in our pipeline who are looking for $457 million. Some of these pipeline companies will be presenting their startup journey in front of all of you. And I, for myself, is very much looking forward to hear about their journey. So I'll stop here with this anecdote by our national poet, जो आलम ईजाद में है साहिब ईजाद, हर दौर में तवाफ उसका करता है ज़माना. The point is of innovation. For us to make this clean energy transition, we require innovation in the area of technology, in the area of distribution, in the area of financing. PFAN is here to support you arranging an innovative finance that suits your requirement, as well as help the financing institution to have the returns that it envisions. So I am looking forward to a very successful, very insightful session and listening to the startup stories from our pipeline. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Amar Yasir, for giving us an overview of PPSE project, as well as highlighting the importance of investment in the SMEs and startup space in their domain of clean tech. Now, I would like to introduce you to our next esteemed speaker, Mr. Stephen Berlingat. Mr. Stephen Berlingat is the Director of Economic Growth and Sustainability Office of USAID Pakistan. He has over 25 years of experience managing business affairs and government policy in emerging markets in developing countries, including 9 years in the ASEAN region. So over to Mr. Stephen Berlingat for giving us an overview of USAID's economic growth and clean energy transition policies as well as activities.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to be here. We're definitely looking forward to hearing from our eco entrepreneurs from a variety of tech sectors today. So USA Pakistan is an avid supporter of entrepreneurship and innovation, which is why we are always keen to celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week. So very, very happy to be here, and I'm happy to see the turnout. This is a great event. So our theme this year is bringing business ideas to life. And well, I'm proud to share that the U.S. government has several initiatives here in Pakistan that give aspiring entrepreneurs the tools and support they need to actualize their dreams and make a lasting impact in business. So I'm going to name a few. I'm going to go through a few of our initiatives this morning, and hopefully they resonate and lead to some thinking about some next steps on the part of some of our participants today. So, for instance, the U.S. government supports the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Pakistan. We've been doing this work for a decade through initiatives like the Startup Cup, which is implemented by TIE Islamabad, and I'm proud to say has mentored more than 2,000 startups in this country. I mean, those are just fantastic numbers. So the Startup Cup engages leading industry experts to mentor startups and also help them refine and optimize their business models. So under the U.S.-Pakistan Science and Technology Cooperative Program, we have done some more great work. We've supported the enhancement of the science and technology community to spur human and economic development here in Pakistan. And we do this especially by investing in spaces that inspire creativity and collaboration. In these spaces, I'm thinking of the science and technology parks at educational institutions such as LUMS and NUST. I have visited both institutions. I've seen these spaces, and yes, they are collaborative spaces. They are inspiring spaces. And I think they're designed very well. They do their job. So on to financing. So everybody here knows that SMEs and startups are typically underserved by the formal lending sector. So to help unlock funds for SMEs and startups, we have partnered with 4 local banks to provide a partial loan guarantee, which helps channel finance to underserved borrowers. The guarantee benefits small and medium scale borrowers, but also, here's the corollary, it also helps banks understand this market much better than they have in the past. So we help enhance this understanding by helping banks expand their portfolio to the SME sector, as well as extend longer-term loans for clean energy projects in particular, something highly relevant to our group today. So our partnerships with commercial banks have already mobilized more than $20 million out of the planned $54 million. That's the target. We've mobilized this amount in finance for biofuel and solar projects, and our total thus far that we've helped finance, we've helped bring about 50 megawatts to this market. Additionally, our assistance to the government and private developers has leveraged $900 million in clean energy deals, which has added 860 megawatts to the national grid. Finally, another piece of our work to support renewable energy, eco-entrepreneurs, the startup community is our policy work. And so we have been working with government authorities at all levels for a very long time to help improve the policy and regulatory environment for your companies. So we think that the entrepreneurial spirit is needed in every facet and sector in this country. But we also think that the energy sector is a special case. The reason why is because of the climate crisis that we are all facing here in Pakistan and around the world. So renewable energy is one of our best ways of addressing climate risks. And so we strongly believe in this sector, and we strongly believe in and support this sector's entrepreneurs. So we are very proud to be supporting small and medium enterprise growth in this country's clean energy transition through programs like this one, the Pakistan Private Sector Energy Conference. Eco entrepreneurs need capital and investment to scale up and to operationalize their great ideas. PPSE is connecting SMEs to investors, investment opportunities, mainly through not only matchmaking, but also helping SMEs build out and improve the quality of their business models, as well as project feasibility. Very happy to share that in this last quarter alone, PPSE has raised more than $9 million for its pipeline. This is a big deal because I think, as everyone on this call knows, Pakistan's economy is going through a rough patch. It's been a difficult year. Last year was also difficult, but the fact that this program has managed to mobilize more than $9 million for its pipeline is really a testament to one, the quality of entrepreneurs in this country, and two, the promise of renewable energy, e-mobility, eco SMEs, eco startups, the promise of this sector in general. So that promise is so great. These entrepreneurs are so talented that investors want to invest in these companies despite the economic conditions in the background. So that is really fantastic. And I congratulate our friends at PPSE for this just a remarkable result. So the PPSE pipeline now consists of 48 projects from diverse renewables and e-mobility sectors. And we are hoping to see more investment mobilization in the future. And we're very confident that the companies that we're working with in this program are going to be able to successfully engage investors. Each SME in this pipeline, whether it's renewable energy, e-mobility, or circularity, is really a testament to how each of us, and particularly entrepreneurs, can make an impact towards a greener future for this country. Eco-entrepreneurship is one of the keys towards this transition, and we strongly believe that by supporting a strong ecosystem, we can ensure that SMEs effectively and can quickly scale their solutions. So in sum, USA Pakistan has many programs and opportunities for eco entrepreneurs like yourselves, and I would urge everyone listening, everyone on this call, to avail yourselves of support in this market, whether it's mentorship, funding sources, or climate finance facilitation. So in closing, we're really looking forward to hearing from you today, hearing from the entrepreneurs and dynamic team leaders who are together proving that clean tech is a fast-growing and thriving industry in Pakistan. And I will say it again, that this sector is so promising that investors are interested in these opportunities despite the economic downturn that we're seeing. This is still a very competitive sector. So thank you all very much for having me with you today. And I really appreciate your time. Good luck to you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Ballingat. We are extremely grateful to the US government support for the ecosystem of entrepreneurship in Pakistan by supporting startups, by working in the area of science and technology support, and also working on much needed financing requirements of SMEs and startups in Pakistan. And the figures that you mentioned, they are remarkable. And also your work related to policy and regulatory framework related to renewable energy and clean energy Pakistan is much applauded. So thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Ballingat, for giving us an overview of your activities and your ambitious projects that you are doing now and you intend to do in near future for the startup ecosystem of Pakistan, especially focusing on clean tech. Before inviting the next speaker, I would request everyone to have their cameras on so that we can have an online picture just for 1 minute.
If the panelists, Farheen, Saad, Rabia, Aftab, if you can all kindly turn on your cameras, that would be great.
And smile also.
Well, we would appreciate the smile. Okay, let me just take the picture. Okay, everyone say entrepreneurship.
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 Take the picture before the smiles start to get creepy.
Yes, I know. But yeah, I'm just gonna take just one more picture, if that's okay with everyone. Okay. One last time. Cheese.
Yes.
Thank you,
That was
everyone.
sometimes entrepreneurship makes you want to cry. So, that's sweet.
Sure, you can have a
Yes.
crying picture too if you like. Okay. Thank you,
Sure.
everyone. Thank
you.
you so much. So, yes, let's introduce our next speaker.
Thank you very much, Mavra. Now, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Sumaira Abbasi, who is the Executive Director of the TAI, the Indus Entrepreneurs Islamabad chapter. Sumaira has an extensive experience in senior management roles in local and global organizations with high technical and contextual knowledge of managing and leading organizations, teams, and projects to deliver impactful results. She was also selected for Australia Awards Development Scholarship for Emerging Leaders, and she is a well-known name in the entrepreneurship ecosystem of Pakistan and specifically Islamabad. So over to Ms. Sumaira Abbasi to give us an overview of the activities of TAI, especially in the domain of clean tech startups and SMEs support.
Thank you very much, Hamad, and I thank PFAN and the USH for giving me an opportunity to co-host this event today and also to speak on behalf of TAI Islamabad. The Indus Entrepreneurs, or TAI, is a global network of organizations that aim to foster entrepreneurship around the world, particularly amongst the young people, providing them with support such as mentoring, investments, education, and of course, also being able to provide them with partnerships and connectivity that will enable them to leverage onto the resources that they need to bring their ideas into in a real form and also to accelerate their growth. We started TAI Islamabad in 2008, way early, and we take pride in the fact that we've done some constructive work in pioneering the startup ecosystem of Pakistan as we know today. As Stephen also mentioned, with the support of the US State Department, we've been able to run Pakistan's biggest business pitching competition, the Pakistan Startup Cup. And we are celebrating 10 years of this very amazing program, which aims to cultivate a culture of entrepreneurship and encourage young entrepreneurial talent to come to the surface. And through this program, we've been able to work with up to 10,000 young entrepreneurs from the length and breadth of Pakistan. We've been able to reach out to tier 2 and 3 cities, which usually do not have access to these kind of resources for them to be able to pursue entrepreneurship and to leverage onto these resources. Also, with the support of the US State Department, we were able to set up the first Women Entrepreneurship Center in Pakistan, which is called the We Create Center. To date, it is the only self-sustaining business incubator, and it offers tailored programs and support for women entrepreneurs in Pakistan, particularly in the Islamabad region. We all understand that women in Pakistan face barriers that are specific to them, and the idea of setting up such an entrepreneurship center was to provide them with that kind of support in the form of both a physical space, which is safe, secure, and easy to access, but also with programmatic and portfolio support that women specifically need. In the context because we are talking about startups that are working in the clean tech domain and addressing climate change and climate change impact issues, we've also executed a 5-year program with the support of Oxfam, where we set up innovation hubs in rural areas like Laya and Jamshoro to provide an opportunity to micro entrepreneurs and young people. And these are regions we focused on Laya and Jamshoro because these are regions that are affected by natural disasters, and for them to be able to create their businesses that will not only help them with their livelihoods, but also stir the local economy within that area and create more employment opportunities for the young people around them. More recently, we've also executed the FATA revitalization program, with the support of UNDP, where we were able to work with the young people of the Fata district to again help them, find ways to create small businesses, to create jobs for young people in that same area, leveraging on whatever resources that they have. We've also been able to help startups across multiple vertical domains to raise investments through the USAID's SMEA project. As part of the implementing partners of this project, we were able to help businesses with their investment proposals and for them to be able to successfully, raise investments. Just talking about, I would just like to sort of, throw in a little bit of numbers in order to emphasize on the kind of impact our work has created in Pakistan in the time that we've been operational. Amongst the different programs that we've worked on, we've been able to engage with more than 11,000 startups. Amongst these, up to 7,000 have been women-led businesses. We've been able to train and engage up to 1,000 mentors to build their capacity and to seek commitment from them to mentor young and aspiring entrepreneurs. 300 and plus startups have been able to raise investments and access finance through our various programs. And the overall financial impact of our programs goes on to 30.75 million in terms of the amounts or investments that have been dispersed amongst our startups. In addition to these programs, because TIE is a global network, we've also successfully provided access to the global programs of TIE to Pakistani startups through programs such as TIE University and TIE Women. And again, TIE Women is a program that provides the opportunity to late-stage women-led startups to access up to $100,000 of equity-free investment. So just to encompass everything in terms of our approach to providing support to startups is that we really firmly believe that startups are the vehicles through which the economic prosperity of any region, area, or country can be achieved. And we've seen that the investment in startups yields unimaginable returns. And we are highly committed to continue to doing that. In the context of today's topic, where we are focusing more on the startups that are working to address climate change impact, because we work with startups across all of the various different verticals, each one of our programs has seen tremendously, credible startups emerge. But more focused programs such as the Sun Business Network, we've helped, run the Global Pitch competition, which was focused on food and agri-tech startups. And these were startups that were at a late stage and were aiming to again raise investments, which is one of the key points of focus of today's discussion as well. And we've also been able to devise curriculum for agri-tech startups as a program which has been run with the support of the Danish Embassy. Just to encapsulate whatever we've done so far, I would like to say that and in the beginning, Mr. Amar Yasser very relevantly said that we've seen the impact of climate change, and Pakistan being at the forefront of this impact is tremendously, positioned to not just feel the impact, but I believe we need to understand that this is also another big opportunity that we can turn into a success for all of our startups. And I think PFAN is doing great work by focusing and providing support to such startups. And we're very happy to collaborate in today's discussion and look forward to the amazing ideas and startups that are working in this domain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Samara, for highlighting the activities of TIE, all of your activities related to clean tech startup support and other support in the domain of multiple areas is commendable. One of the most important factors that must be appreciated is your activities related to gender mainstreaming in the area of startup support, and the way you have been supporting women and female entrepreneurs is a very commendable act. So our appreciation, our commendation for TIE and TIE Islamabad's activities, and we hope that these activities would continue with us and others for supporting the budding entrepreneurs. Now we'll be starting our first panel discussion, which is electric mobility, driving success in clean transport, and what makes a strong business model, prototype, and team with respect to e-mobility. To start this session, I would like to introduce our panelists. Our honorable panelists include, the first one is Ms. Yumna Ahmed. Ms. Yumna Ahmed is the Chief Business Officer of Easy Bike. Our second panelist is Mr. Shah Tala Sohail, who is the CEO and co-founder of Mode Mobility. Our third panelist is Ms. Rabil Khan, who is the product manager for Zip Technologies. So I'll initiate this discussion with the question to Ms. Yumna. Ms. Yumna, your company had been very successful. The news that we are getting every day, every month, we are getting some good news about Easy Bike. So being at the forefront of this e-bikes revolution, the upcoming e-bike revolution in Pakistan, and owing to your previous role, being in leadership role in multiple companies like Airlift and others, and you recently also had a very successful launch event in Islamabad. We had the honor to attend that event also. What do you think is the most important factor in running smooth operations for EV companies in Pakistan, and also how to establish strong brand identity in the EV domain in Pakistan?
Hello, Hamad. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's an honor to be able to represent Easy Bike in front of this lovely and awe-inspiring audience. I would like to first thank PFAN, USAID, and UNIDO for helping us electrifying our own journey. Pakistan has a market of 26 million motorcycles. It's the 5th largest motorcycle market in the world. Yet it is quite unfortunate that Pakistan is unable to transition into the EV space itself. But let me ask you this. Can you guys imagine owning a car with not having petrol pumps outside to, get your fuel? The most crucial factor in running smooth ops for EV companies, I would say, is the development of the EV ecosystem itself. What that essentially means is having an extensive battery swap station network, easily accessible batteries on the go, charged for the common riders, and strategically placed on their common routes. I'm very proud to announce that Easy Bike is the first company in Pakistan that has established the country's first battery swap station network across 40 locations in the Twin Cities. And honestly, we are just getting started. Looking back at our early days, we have always been quite disruptive. Some might even call us brave, because at peak COVID, this is from 2020, we started off as a scooter sharing business when electric two-wheelers were an alien concept in its own. Using these 3 years to understand the need of our consumers and the market a bit better, we have come to the realization that not only it's essential to encourage real adaptation of EVs, but the real deal is to provide a holistic solution, really. Setting up a battery swapping network not only addresses concerns related to range anxiety, but also promotes the widespread adoption of EVs, like I just explained. I think for establishing a brand promise and a strong brand identity, you need to be able to cater to your audience pain points and, just not stop talking about them. It's only human nature to trust people who keep their words and fulfill their promises. And trust me, brands and consumers' relationships are no different. Building trust among consumers is essential. This can be achieved through consistent communication, reliability, and a commitment to solve real problems, I would say. 40% of an average rider's earnings goes into fuel cost. Switching to an electric vehicle can help cut down up to 50% of that expense. by creating awareness about how EVs can truly change the life of an armed Pakistani, by increasing their take home, by helping fight the adverse effect on the environment because of operating a gasoline-run motorcycle. The idea really is to create awareness around electric two vehicles, battery swapping technology, and the benefit that they offer. So I guess this is how a smooth transition towards EVs can truly take off. Hamad, up to you too.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's a very remarkable achievement of Easy Bikes in the way you are building brands for Easy Bikes. And already being a newcomer in this area has developed a very good brand identity. So talking about mobility and one of the area which is our focus, our organization focus, our project focus is gender mainstreaming. And we have seen this thing that owing to the circumstances in Pakistan, and one of the hurdles for women's economic participation is lack of mobility. So mobility is a gender-biased industry in terms of both manufacturing and end users, especially for two-wheelers in Pakistan. How is Easy Bike trying to include more women in its team and also in end users, as you are more of an urban service delivery?
Honestly, Hamad, it has become a very personal battle for us at this point. We are actively trying to add more women representation on the engineering and assembly, plus the leadership side of the business. It's not just to address the gender biasness in the industry, but also to create a culture of diversity and inclusivity inside, internally as well. But we are more than committed to providing equal opportunities for women across all our business operations. We are one of the very few companies in Pakistan to have gender and need-based people policies. We work pretty hard to train our internal teams on gender sensitivity and to be just more mindful while, working with the opposite gender. From our scooter sharing days, I can tell you this, almost 30% of our users were women, and we have led multiple campaigns and activations across universities, companies, markets in general, just to encourage more women-led usage. I would like to share this really beautiful moment from our journey from the scooter sharing days. I was sent this image of a house help, this lady who was going to work using our scooter sharing model Easy Bike Bolt. And it was truly so inspiring for us to see that we have real users, real women using our service, and we are playing some part, in making their lives a bit easier. We have had customers call us from the most remote areas of Pakistan that you can imagine, telling us that they need these electric scooters to give to their daughters, wives, sisters, who walk miles every day to go to their work, to their colleges, to their schools. And, it's really inspiring to see that Pakistan is shifting towards the use of electric vehicles. And I can proudly confirm that Easy Bike is accessible, safe, and beneficial for everybody, regardless of their gender. Also, every day, an increasing number of logistics and delivery service companies are actively promoting the inclusion of women riders in their fleets as well, and they're providing them with access to company-owned vehicles. Although the current percentage is relatively pretty small at the moment, but there is hope that with time and with collective effort, this will expand, inshallah.
Okay, that's very good that they started small with reference to gender, and with your collective efforts, I think it will go a long way. Now, coming to our next panelist, Mr. Shah Tala Suhail, who's the CEO and co-founder of Mode Mobility. Shah Tala Suhail, you recently participated in PPSE, our project-sponsored event of International Vienna Energy Climate Forum, and you also won the Best Youth-Led Solution Award, which is an honor for our project, which is an honor for our country also, that among the 26 countries, you won this huge prize at the Vienna Energy and Climate Forum. So how is your team involved, and how is your innovation and prototype that makes you stand out from Pakistan's growing two-wheeler EV market? Also would like to share your how did you won that global prize? People would be interested to know.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmad Saab. First of all, I'm really thankful to PFAN, PPSE project, and supporters like USAID and UNIDO. For entrepreneurs like us who are pre-revenue, these sort of rewards and achievements bring us to surface. which eventually help us with recognition and networking and getting to know those sort of people we actually want to know. So first of all, really thank you for the opportunity. And regarding how we got there, I think it's because of the support from you guys, and Allah had been kind to us. We had to go through 35 plus startups who were there from emerging markets. And there was a pitch competition in which we had to present our own solution from pitching to how the business is supposed to run. And among those 35 plus startups, we won the Best Youth Led Solution Award, Alhamdulillah. So coming on to your next question, just a bit introduction about Mode Mobility. Mode Mobility is an EV two-wheeler startup based out of Karachi. We are, as most of you guys know, by 2030, 30% of the new vehicles would be electric vehicles in Pakistan. And we are basically accelerating Pakistan's growth into electric mobility. Our focus is simple. We do user-friendly, eco-friendly electric motorcycles. We're unique in a way that we do the complete product lifecycle from design to manufacturing to sales, after sales, and eventually recycling. When we started this company back in 2020, we understood the problem. The problems were rising fuel cost, carbon emissions, and limited mobility options for women. The product that we had been using for the last couple of decades weren't solving this problem. We thought of coming up with a solution which is for our own problems, which is versatile enough to handle a rough environment, the rough environment we live in Pakistan. So the solution was simple: an electric scooter designed for ergonomically friendly for both men and women, and making it affordable and learner-friendly by using electric drivetrain. The concept was simple. We cater to the new niche and the underserved segment of the society, which is women, and we cater to their mobility needs. So by coming up with this solution, we came up with the whole business plan to make sure that we make it both commercially and technically viable. By solving this problem, we also reduce carbon emissions significantly and help women participate in workforce. So as far as the current position is concerned, we plan to go to market next year. And once we go to market, we want to make sure that the product is right fit for the audience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shatila Sahel. Now, coming to our third panelist, Ms. Rabil Khan, who is the product manager for Zip Technologies. Firstly, congratulations to the team Zip Technologies on pitching at the annual conference of Open Silicon Valley in San Francisco. And you recently raised a huge amount of funding also. For any successful business, in addition to visionary entrepreneur, the team is behind the success just as much, if not the vision. The people who are getting things done on a daily basis. As Zip Technologies product manager, how do you intelligently iterate product design and features to reflect customer demands and companies' supply realities?
First off, I would like to thank PFAN and the PPSE project for inviting me as a representative of Zip Technologies to this conference. As for your question, Mr. Ahmad, for a product, it's always important that at the heart of the product is the customer's needs. And as at Zip Technologies, that's something that we take very seriously. As an introduction of Zip Technologies is an electric mobility brand with roots in Silicon Valley, and it's the brainchild of our founders, Mr. Hassan Khan and like Chuktai, Dr. Hassan and Imran Mughal. We have set up our production facility in Lahore, and we have a range of products which include the electric bikes, our charging stations, our phone app, and our fleet management software. Coming to your question, for any product, it's very for the success of any product is determined by how the customer base takes it. And it's important that when you start a product, you work closely with your customers. At Zip, we've done extensive market research, and PFAN has been very helpful in that. Market research was sponsored by PFAN, which provided a very insightful view into how the market is growing and how the customers' needs are evolving. We've done surveys, one-on-one interviews with customers to understand their needs better, because nobody can tell the story better than the customers themselves about what their pain points are. And a product has to be designed around those pain points to address those problems. After all of the preliminary research, But goes into this goes into designing a base product, the minimum viable product. After the development of the MVP, working closely with the engineering team, with the software team, we do demos, we do focus groups, and we take the feedback directly from the customers. It's one-on-one, and it's focus groups as well. We've done our focus groups with male riders. We've done our focus groups with the female riders. We've targeted different areas of the market. We've done B2B, we've done B2C to understand how our products suit, how the product suits the needs of the customers. Establishing the product market fit. Once we receive the feedback, it's an iterative process. It goes into the in engineering and into the vision of the product, and the product gets improved. Then the product goes into the trial. When I'm happy to announce that Zip's products are already in trial. Our charging station has been in our charging station, our electric bike, our phone app, and our fleet management software. Zip is unique in the sense that in addition to developing the hardware, we are also working closely on developing our software system, our cloud-based phone app, and our fleet management software that provides a unique opportunity for B2B business, especially entrepreneurial B2B businesses who are just entering the market to start their operations with clean energy. Once we go into trial, we stay closely connected with the customers. We get their feedback in. There's monthly interviews with the customers. There's daily feedback, that's direct feedback, indirect feedback, and it gets fed right into the product development cycle. What's really important in to Zip and to overall development of the product is that you focus on what the customer is telling you, how they're telling you, and what you can do to address their needs. And I can proudly say here that we've accommodated a lot of customer feedback. Our product has gone through a lot of iterations to develop into what it currently is right now. And in that process, the product actually gets developed into something the customers like, and we're receiving positive feedback right now. When it comes to optimization of the features, it's really important to focus on the RICE methodology. You have to focus on, because the company's resources, the engineers' time, everything has to be managed perfectly for us to be able to develop a product as well as manage the company's resources. The features have to be developed into a product roadmap that goes into a well thought out plan of how the features are going to be rolled out and how they will be aligned with the customer's needs and the company's ideology.
Thank you very much. And good to know that your product is getting good customer feedback. And now I would like to ask you another question. You are a trained engineer. By training and education, you are an engineer. What opportunities do you see women in the STEM field, especially in the e-mobility space, as this would be an upcoming huge industry in Pakistan? So for emerging countries like economies like Pakistan, where do you see the opportunities for female engineers, female professionals in the EV business scenario?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Mr. Hamad. As you already mentioned, I have a degree in electrical engineering, and I worked as a design engineer for 2 years before I started my role as a product manager. And I mentioned that because having an engineering background gives you a lot of opportunities and gives you a certain a mindset that's very important in this fast evolving field that the electric mobility is. And that also provides a chance that also opens up a lot of roles that women can be a part of. There's engineering and design. The women in STEM can be involved in chassis design, body structures, the design of cooling systems. Then there comes research and development. I mean, there's a lot of exciting research going on in the energy field, in the development of batteries, and in the development of efficient charging solution. Then there comes the manufacturing process. There is a lot of work that needs to be done, and that is going on in the development of sustainable manufacturing processes. And women, while that's mainstream engineering fields, it also is important to highlight the fields that are supplemented by engineering, such as policy design and the field that I currently am in, the product management field. I work closely with engineers all day. And over the past years, I've learned that my engineering background has actually helped me develop a better understanding of how the product is going to work and helps me better connect with engineers. So the opportunities are endless. I mean, we should acknowledge that women also face a lot of hurdles, especially in emerging economies like Pakistan. But what really actually matters is how passionate you are and how dedicated you are to be a part of this revolution that is bound to come. And it's important to keep yourself connected with the new technology and with new research as well.
So you could see lots of opportunities for women professionals in the EV scenario in upcoming years.
Yes.
Yes, same with you, Ms. Yamuna and Shatala in the EV sector.
I mean, we can root for it and we can hope for it, inshallah. I hope so.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's hope for the best that this upcoming area of EV, and it's not upcoming, it's already growing. It's not in infancy stage, it's growing at very rapidly. So we'll see lots of women professionals in this field, in not only in the technical side, in business side, in every aspect of the EV transition. We are foreseeing important role of women professionals. So thank you very much, panelists, for your insight into the EV scene. Now we'll start our next panel discussion, which is focusing on circularity, the circular economy, with the topic of realizing the net zero potential and promise and how to partner and scale up. For this important session, we have very distinguished panelists who are our beneficiaries also, all of them. The first one is Mr. Ali Sayed, who is the CEO of Ouroboros. Then we have Ms. Zile Mariam, who is the CEO and Manager Director of ISP Solutions. And then we have Mr. Saad bin Azam, who is the CEO of Greenovation. I'll start with Mr. Ali Sayed. Mr. Ali Sayed, first of all, congratulations on raising investment and scaling up your operations. I know all of you, the three who are working in the area of circular economy, that's very important and very dire issue of Pakistan. Because we could see in all the urban cities, even in rural areas, you could see sometimes heap of garbage along the roads, along everywhere. So this is an important area, then very important area for us, for our environment, even for our optics also, everything. So you're doing an excellent job. So you raised an investment. And you are one of the foremost circularity and waste management company in terms of consulting on technical and operational policy side. How you and your company is impacting Pakistan's project and sector-wise interventions in the context of net zero commitments, and in addition to making on-ground impact and also influencing policies related to circularity. So, Mr. Ali Sayed.
So thank you so much, everyone joining. Lovely to have everybody else's, projects, information, what you guys are doing. Keep it up, keep going, even on the down days. So just thanks to PFAN, USAID, and UNIDO for the opportunity to speak again. Jumping in, Amali, like mentioned. So in terms of the challenge and what we've been doing. So the challenge has been that we've got a gap in waste management services, basic urban infrastructure, etc. So in terms of how we are and how we set up. So first of all, we as a company have three verticals. We do consulting and advisory, we do waste collection disposal, and we do circularity work, which is recycling and recovery. The reason being they're complementary, but they can also be operated in silos. And they have been done so for the past 70 years. So because 10 years ago, there was a gap in getting information from academia, from the private sector, from the public sector, from the local markets, we had to forcefully, which has been a good thing now, had to have these verticals for our own in-house R&D, and they've been complementary so far. And that's how we've been able to establish our expertise across the technical, operational, and policy side. They feed back into each other. And that's been the biggest gap. So that's how we've been developing in-house and externally our sector-wide and project interventions. And one of it is the ones that's being supported with PFAN, and we're scaling up on. So coming back to how we've been doing that. So on the technical advisory side, we identified a gap between the informal and formal sector. So our main tagline, main focus, main vision is being the bridge between the formal and informal sector. Whilst we're sitting here on and Zoom, the actual individuals doing the work, doing the collection, doing the recovery, doing the end management quietly, daily, day and night, are the informal sector. So first you need to recognize that. Now, doing that, the question is, how well they're doing it, not doing it, is it efficient, not efficient? If they weren't operating, we wouldn't have the cleanliness or that, falls under cleanliness for most people optics wise that we have today, right? That's because they're recovering materials, recycling, and it's not going in landfills or dump sites. But we need that on a wider scale, just like mentioned, in semi-urban areas, in smaller cities, in larger cities. So the manner in which we've been doing that is on the consulting advisory side, we've been working with national companies covering Southeast Asia, the developing world, because the blanket is similar. Fundamental wise, the modalities are different. So pre-API work we've been doing with companies and organizations, which applies to all of the developing world. Advisory wise, because we operate three verticals, whether it's the operation of waste collection disposal, whether it's the plastic recycling or paper advisory, they're all feeding back into our own engine and supporting public sector, private sector, churn out like a blender information. And that's our main data collection source. And that's what was missing. And we had to do it for ourselves. And we decided very, very early on, 10 years ago, that was the gap. And that's why we are the bridge between the informal and formal sector and want to be a platform. So that's a main source. An example is recently we did the first ever comprehensive waste picker study of Pakistan from a socioeconomic level. And there have been a few done before, but because we're on ground daily, collecting, recycling, and engage with them from multiple fronts, on the accounting side, the finance side, the JAS-CAS side, the procurement side, the transport side, it all helped feedback in terms of the entrepreneurial side. Now we've identified the gaps. You can find it on internet, you can find it on Wikipedia. How do you recycle? But how do you execute it? Right? So one code Yoda, but I was going to. I decided not to just now, but there's do and do not, right? There's no try. So I had a lot with trying over 10 years, right? When I was initially deconstructing this in 2010. For us, there's no trying. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. So whilst we're churning out this information, I was sitting on motorbikes for 6 years and rickshaws, finding out the scrap market, the conversations, the data gathering. There was a focus on execution. So that's where we are today. On the entrepreneurial side, we've got main site scaling. We work across primarily the beverage recycling side. Now I know PET is popular across all the news and all the documents, but beverage bottle, which I have right now in front of me, I'm not gonna, not sponsored by them, but there's the wrapper and then the cap and then the ring, right? So we're looking at true full-scale recyclability and circularity, so it's not coming up. So we are turning the cap and ring back into resin. We're turning the PET back into resin, and we're looking at partnering with individuals. We have been for some time to de-ink, demetallize for true circularity, meaning all of this goes back into the supply chain into a product that's endless, not turning it into or mixing other compounds and putting it in a road, unfortunately, or other materials when specific plastics are of value and can be reutilized, right? You don't kill it in the product I'm making or the product you're recycling into. So that's what we've been doing on the entrepreneurial side, the execution side, and the no trying side, the doing side. In terms of our operations and how we're looking at the policy side, our project's focused on job creation. There's a lot of abundant labor in the country, so there's always an opportunity cost between labor and capital. So utilizing that, our plants are in semi-urban areas. We've trained 180 women already. We've provided a service model in a way they get picked up, they get dropped. So there's accessibility there. We've got security cameras. We bring in the community, get our people vetted and approved by them that are allowed to even be on site, including my managers, my supervisors. So women and families are comfortable. Their pays have increased 4x from what they usually earn, just from an initial scale. And in addition to that, within our local information pulling and learning, we've been able to produce 8 qualities from localized machinery that did take me 6-7 years to fabricate and tweak. I'm not an engineer, so probably took longer than most people. But the operational efficiencies are very Pakistan centric. we've been looking at imported solutions. We need to start looking at a sort of calibrated, localized solutions. So that's really the package what we've been looking at doing. And in terms of now net zero and achievement, upstream reduction from using waste, utilizing it properly, you're reducing imports, you're reducing footprints, you're reducing transportation. So there's carbon footprints there. By doing true circularity, which we're looking at achieving, you're reducing burning of plastic, reducing landfill, you're reducing marine pollution. So there's a whole compound of items that I can keep going, but our solutions looking at the upstream and downstream side. And the layer on top is the emissions and the.
Okay. That's excellent, Sayyid Ali, that you are saving our huge amount of, you're doing an excellent job in terms of reducing carbon emission, reducing waste, and helping waste not getting into the landfills and also to the seas and harming the marine life. So you're doing remarkable work. Keep it up. I'll come to you with more questions also. Now, going to our next panelist, Ms. Zille Mariam Sohail, who is CEO and Managing Director of ISP Solutions. Ms. Zille Mariam, congratulations. You recently have been selected for GIZ's Germany's global call, and you also being part of their training and capacity building session in Kenya also. Can you please tell us about this experience and very briefly about your business model?
Okay, thank you so much, Hamad, for inviting me here. I think my journey started with Unido. They actually made me who I am right now, working as a businesswoman, taking leads in multiple projects, and making sure that whatever step I take, it's towards sustainability of my work and for the environment as well. So GIZ, they selected 7 companies in Pakistan, and they were, for this reason, they have to prepare us for environmental adaptability. As I'm working in the field of environment and waste management for the past more than a decade, and providing alternate solutions to industrial sector of Pakistan. It's not only restricted to the plastic recycling or glass or metal recycling. It's towards the organic waste management and processing as well, along with the solutions that are devised particularly for the industrial sector, those who have difficulty in managing their waste. So my company, we started off as a project in the waste to energy sector, but we thought that this is not the only area which we have to select. So we pivoted our model, and so in GIZ as well, we have shared how majority of the organic waste can be processed and then can be used as soil reclamation product. So this is what we're doing right now.
Okay, that's excellent. And also looking at your career, you had been academician, you had a PhD in life sciences, and your long-standing work in the field of environment, waste management, industrial waste, and alternative solutions, you're providing that to FMCGs, textile, paper, and other multiple industries. How do you think expert knowledge can meet practical world of business to come with science-backed solutions in circularity industry in Pakistan?
Okay, so there's a gap in academia that the thesis work they give to the students is not, majority of the time it's practical or approachable through multiple these media. We have a lot of students or researchers doing their research on areas which are relevant to environment, which are relevant to life sciences, but the practicality of the research is not there. So even if they are able to get their research done, then it cannot be scaled up. So the approach should be so that anything which they are moving towards in the field of research and development, their research could be scaled up and should finally be become a profitable business in future. So what our academia is doing, they are just making, I think, corporate slaves. So if they just move towards the entrepreneurship, where they could guide students that how their research could help the industrial sector and how their research can take them or transform their idea into business. It's more approachable, or it's more practical approach towards what they're doing right now. But unfortunately, very few departments and very few universities are taking care of such researchers. And that is the reason they have formulated NICs. They are trying to give them, the space where they can convert their business idea or the research idea into a business model. But still, there's a huge gap. And for this, I think every student should have a very clear vision how they can transform themselves from doing a job only to the entrepreneurial sector.
Okay, that's excellent. Now, coming to our third panelist, Mr. Saad bin Azam, who's the CEO of Greenovation. Mr. Saad, how is your company leveraging waste to energy models, and what practical advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to work in this much needed area of Pakistan, which is waste management, waste to energy, and related facets? So first of all, can you please briefly describe what your business is all about?
Sure. Thank you, Ahmad, for inviting me. So let's talk about innovation first, then I'll explain the leveraging of waste to energy. Innovation is recycling plastic waste into LPG. Liquefied petroleum gas, which is a derivative of petroleum. What happened actually in the world, the energy prices controlled by oil producing countries, and which affects the third world countries' oil pricing. When we started, the price of LPG is around 140 rupees per kg. And nowadays it's around 300 rupees per kg, which means within 2 years, the price of the LPG is doubled. So the leverage of operating in circularity is that the cost of operations remains same. For example, if we are buying raw material at the cost of 15 rupees 2 years ago, now it goes to 20 or max 23. So the cost of operation remains consistent, and the price of your product, which is LPG, doubled in 2 years. So this is the leverage of operating in waste to energy domain. The second part, market is operated by demand and supply. The demand of waste is not increased. Supply is increasing. If we talk about the stats, in Karachi daily, the waste generation is around 13,000 kilograms, which is very high. And what people do, they burn that waste, resulting in smog. This phenomena previously resulted in Lahore or Karachi, but now this is common in southern Punjab also, in Multan, in Bahawalpur. So leverage of operating in this domain is that you don't have to worry about raw material because it's excessively available in every part of the country. And the second thing, which is the demand of energy. This is also a well-known fact. We don't have much energy to operate. So this is a very promising field. And the second part, the success of our business. It's not the idea, it's not the domain, it's about passion and persistence, which makes us successful in this field. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very good, very excellent point. And as you mentioned, Mr. Saad, that for this waste management and any business related to waste management, there is an abundant quantity of waste available. You mentioned about cities like Karachi producing 13,000 tons, Lahore producing huge tons. So there is a huge availability of raw material, and that raw material that people want to get rid of it. The governments, the municipalities, they want to get rid of it. So there is this, so you see huge potential for startups in the area of waste management. So now coming back to Syed Ali, very briefly, what advice would you like to give to the new entrepreneurs who want to venture into the area of waste management, waste to energy, circular economy, keeping in view the fact that this is a huge problem. We have seen cities like Lahore facing huge problem of smog. It has literally crippled the economics, the lifestyle of the people, and the daily routine of people have been affected. So very briefly, what advice would you like to give to the entrepreneurs in the field of circular economy?
Thanks. So this is, apologize, this is going to be a little pessimistic view. But my first of all advice would be understand the problem thoroughly. Whilst there's a problem, there's 6,000 gaps in the market as well, right? Outside clean energy and within clean energy. Now, with the PFAN team, with the NIDO team, Essen, Siddharth Saab, Marwan, and yourself, whilst there are successes, my uni mentor, straight out my university, asked me what's the most important thing in a project. I said, team, idea, materials, access to contracts, and she corrected me saying, no, cash flow. So cash flow wise, investment wise, Pakistan struggling macroeconomically. Access to capital funding is lean, very poor. Today we're discussing successes, but it's taken us lots of time. My journey is like 10, 12 years. Zille I've known for some time, 10, 15 years. The others I don't know so well, so I can't speak for them. But it's taken time, right? And if we don't have our own runway or other, 5 jobs or consulting work, etc., it's very difficult to survive in Pakistan 10 years ago. And today it's even more so. Now, we've got active running businesses, access to funding, capital, finance, very, very lean in Pakistan, despite the commitments. So despite that, just keep that in, view for any future entrepreneurs. Banks, local institutions, international institutions are, seldom coming to Pakistan very soon. So just keeping that in mind, understand the problem as well as you can. You can identify the problem, but need to understand that there's gaps in information. For us, particularly in the plastic or waste domain, the formal sector gap is huge, and that's the fragmented bit that's taken us time. Secondly, in terms of circularity, it covers material circularity. So it's not just plastic, this paper, cardboard, metal. It has to do with, organic waste, municipal waste. So it goes hand in hand with the public sector's speed, public sector infrastructure and policy. So your gear might be in the 7th, the country or sector or project might be in the 3rd gear. So that's something to be just mindful, but don't stop. Keep going.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this advice. And you mentioned about lack of certain things, but now we have projects like our PPSE projects who are there to help the clean tech and circularity startups to grow, and we provide runway. So Ms. Zille Mariam, last very brief comment especially to the women entrepreneurs who want to come into the field of circularity business, circularity startups and clean tech startups. Ms. Zille Mariam, you're on mute.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you just repeat the question, please?
I was asking very briefly, what advice would you like to give to new entrepreneurs, especially women in the field of circular economy, startups in the area?
So I think there are multiple lines which are connected to circular economy. It's not only the plastic, it's the organic waste, the soil reclamation, it's metal industry, it's glass industry. There are huge industries which need proper system designed for them and a mechanism for the entire collection supply chain. So the gap is there, the potential is there, and anyone who wishes to enter into this system first should have a knowledge of what they are going to do and then how they are going to take the entire route. Because I think if they are going to do it haphazardly, they will not perform well or they'll just waste their time. So they should know that they have a site, they have a system in place, and then they can start off with few steps taken at a time. And these steps should be from collection supply chain to the processing unit.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Zille Mariam. And your success being a woman entrepreneur in the area of circular economy, that is, I think you are a very right role model for many women entrepreneurs who want to venture into the circular economy and clean tech related startups. Now, coming to our third and last panel discussion, which is titled Renewable Energy, Leadership Styles to Electrify Emerging Economies. And in this panel, we have 3 panelists. We have Mr. Shahryar, who is the CEO and founder of Harness Energy. We have Ms. Farheen Irfan, who is the Chief Operating Officer of ACT Engineering. So, I'll start with Shahryar. Okay. So, Shahryar, congratulations on winning several accolades and raising investment to the tune of $100,000 plus. We've seen this thing in countries like Pakistan, and especially developing countries all around the world. Rural electrification is a dire need. in the energy puzzles of many countries. And your company has been working in the area of rural electrification. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to where your organization harness energies today, and what advice would you like to give to eco entrepreneurs who are hoping to light lives in the Pakistan's rural areas?
Thank you, Matsa, for the introduction and the invitation. So just a brief roundup about what we do, and then I'll answer your questions and the advice you seek. So Harness Energy was actually, we're in our 7th year now. It's been a while since we started back in 2016. So I was working in the family business back then. We have been integrated in the rural economy for a while now. Our family business is basically manufacturing of pumps, diesel engines, like a bunch of irrigation equipment. So we engage with farmers a lot. So after my master's, I joined the business, and I wanted to, sort of know what was happening on the ground, to see how farmers, make their spending decisions, and, the seasonality of crops. So I was into sales, and I was into making new dealers and talking to farmers. And like a couple of years into this role, I realized that, there was, and we worked primarily in South Punjab and interior Sindh, that there was a big, elephant in the room that was not being, tackled properly. A lot of these places that we went to, whether it be the shops of the dealers that were selling our products, or to like farmer houses, or to the local panchayats that we went to, energy provision, stable, reliable electricity was basically a myth in villages. In cities, we can just switch on a button and turn on a fan, air conditioner, or light. Whereas, if you just move 10 kilometers out of the main cities, this is a very different story. So, and then I studied the problem a bit. We talked to a bunch of people in Islamabad, some aid organizations. I was an Acumen fellow back then as well, so explored a lot of their network. And I sort of decided to, leave the family business and form a separate company to tackle this problem. Because, I knew from the start that I wasn't really a non-profit NGO kind of guy. I needed to make my own company. So we decided to tackle this problem in a very systematic for-profit way. So Harness Energy was formed as a private limited company with some seed money of my own and some money from friends and family. And in the first 3 years, we got a lot of mentorship and some grant support as well. So what happened was that initially, because of the restriction and unavailability of a lot of funds, we decided to test the waters with solar lights, basic solar lights that would replace candles and torches, and then multifunctional solar lights that could help charge a mobile phone as well, along with lighting. And very soon we realized that, these products were in demand in the field, but, Pakistan is basically, a super hot country, most of it. So more than 90% of the demand, and especially in the summers, was basically to run fans. So the areas that we worked in, those families have basically 3 main energy requirements. They want to run 1 or 2 fans, 3, 4 lights, and they want to charge their mobile phone. Refrigerators, these kind of stuff, washing machines, very few of them, maybe 1 or 2 in 10 families that we visited required these. So this was basically a good realization on our part that, this is not a very heavy load. If you need to power a fan, lights, and mobile charging, this can be done by, 1 or 2 solar panels. So then we got enrolled and registered in the IFC Lighting Global program back in 2016. And one good thing about our sort of business model and the work we do is that we didn't really need to innovate on the product side. There was a lot of products available off the shelf in China. It's basically a battery, a PCBA, and a solar panel that can run either an LED or power, bigger loads. So there was a bunch of products, but we needed the best quality products. So we made sure the products that we got from China were IEC quality certified. And we were actually one of the very first companies in Pakistan to bring top-notch, what we call sort of the solar, or the iPhone equivalent of the solar product, very reliable, working for 5-6 years without any problem. So we thought, even the poorest of the poor people in villages would be willing to pay for a good product if, it is actually a good product. So we got these good quality products, and eventually till our 4th year, we had a a catalog of 7 products that we were offering. It was from a basic solar light up till a complete package, portable package that could run 2 fans. And so, like I said, we didn't really have to work on the product side, but one big thing that needed innovation, apart from the fact that we needed some quality solar products, was that we needed good financing as well. And this is here, I think, where we took a part that was different from a lot of companies that, let's say Acumen Fund or other investors that invested in East Africa or India. So the different path was that we did not want to get into consumer financing at all, because it's a very balance sheet heavy activity, and we wanted to focus on scale, getting the product, installing it at customer houses, premises, and then taking care of the after sale warranty. We wanted to get payoff as soon as possible. We didn't want to get the product, pay to Chinese manufacturers in advance, and then get our money back after 12 months. So we gradually started meeting with microfinance institutions, and luckily in the first couple of years we got deals with agreements with 5 of them. So now what we do is we have a bunch of products in our catalog that we offer to customers in the field. And we tell them, you're getting this loan for 20,000, 50,000 rupees. Why not get a solar product along with it on installments as well? So this is basically what we do. And in 2019, at the end of 2019, we also got a big grant from the Efficiency for Access Coalition. It's based out of the UK. And we developed an indigenous solar fan, because the fans that we were bundling with our systems, I wasn't satisfied with them in terms of efficiency and motor design. So we developed our own solar fan. So that was a good boost, and that gave us a lot of credibility. And then post-COVID, we actually got a couple of very good offers. One of them was from Acumen, and then from another fund. But unfortunately, both of these offers were basically debt, easy debt. It was a very good interest rate, but it was debt funding. And we decided ultimately to say no to that because of the sort of macroeconomic environment of Pakistan. If you have a one-way transfer of funds in terms of grants or equity, and then you can make a separate company in Singapore or the US. But it was debt, so we had to make quarterly repayments, and money going out of Pakistan, especially dollars going out of Pakistan, has been a big restriction. So we said no to that investment. But the good thing is, from the start, because most of the money was seed money, family and friends, and I'm a freak when it comes to unit economics. I have to make sure my business is running profitably. So once it turned out a profit, we invested a lot of our own money, and we had some other investors, partially with the help of the PFAN Accelerator. It was very helpful. And I think one big credit that goes to them was that we were a small team initially, and we were razor sharp focused on selling the most amount of products and making a profit. But the PFAN Accelerator helped us formalize our thing, improving our pitch deck, how to better talk to investors, and that kind of stuff. So kudos to them. We raised some funding because of their help. And obviously, USAID is the main funding entity for the PFAN project. So very thank you to USAID as well. And actually, we're currently looking at one of their other post-grant or sort of commercial funding ventures as well. So let's see how that materializes. And for the last thing that Hamad Saab asked, I think the advice to give to new people or entrepreneurs who are willing to, want to start their own company, let's say for rural electrification or, to solarizing home. I think, first of all, starting your own company immediately after school or, after a couple of years of working something is overrated. I think first you have to work with someone either under a mentorship or like for 3-4 years, you want to work at a company to actually see what the problem is. And then you make the leap after you have some money saved up and you see that, you want to do something independently. And this market is huge. It's a huge market. It cannot be solved by grant funding or, aid by a foreign organization. It's a purely commercial venture. A lot of families in villages. So most of our the families that we work with, that we give solar solutions to, their monthly income is about 35 to 40,000 rupees combined income, and they're willing to pay a premium on price if the quality is good. So trust your customer, give them very good after sales service, and partner up with organizations like we did for financing. And I don't. If I left something out, Hamad Saab, welcome to.
No, that was excellent. And to sum up what you said and your advice to the budding eco entrepreneurs is, if I could conclude that is that identify the gaps. Just like you identified a problem of rural electrification, which is a huge problem, and you found a solution to that. And so this is an advice for all the entrepreneurs that there are lots of problems. You could see lots of issues daily. So identify the issue and start with a simple solution. And with the passage of time, start to, improving your solution to as per the needs, because you're also providing them with the flexible financing sort of solutions. So anything, a solution coupled with a financial plan is a huge market for Pakistan, especially in the area of clean tech and clean energy. So thank you very much, Shahryar, for this thing. Our next panelist is Ms. Farheen Irfan. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the ACT Engineering. Ms. Farheen, being the Chief Operating Officer of ACT Engineering Services, you're responsible for operations of 20 plus solar EPC projects, and you're managing a staff of more than 100 plus. And also your company has been taking order of $100 million plus. Can you please tell us how you contribute to the strategic planning and decision making at top executive level and implement financial and organizational strategies that align with the organization's goals and objectives?
Thank you so much, Hamad.
And also, please, just a brief introduction of your organization and what do you do?
So thank you so much, Hamad, PFAN, and USA for giving me the opportunity to showcase my company. ACT Engineering is basically a consortium between three large business groups. A stands for Akhtar, C is for Candyland, and T is for Tapal Energy. So we have multiple projects running in the energy sector, mainly into the fossil fuels and wind farms. So we own 3 wind farms in the corridor of Jhampi, Pakistan. Apart from that, we also have a rice manufacturing concern. And apart from this, we have this ACT Engineering, which is a solar EPC company. The company was formed in 2018, and it's not been more than like 5 years. But it was struggling. It was struggling since the very start till 2020. We were in loss. We made huge losses, and the entire equity of the initial investors wiped out. Partially after the COVID, the recovery happened, and we just started off right from the scratch. In 2021, I took over the operations of the company. Before that, I was working for the same group, but in another project. And it was not an easy task. Before I'll jot down the business problems that I faced, I must say that this industry is also very gender specific and male dominant. So I'll just give you a few numbers. Overall, globally, the renewable and energy sector employs 20% of the women. But the numbers are really worse when it comes to Pakistan. Only 4% of the women represents the entire energy sector. And even in the energy sector, we have fossil fuels, we have hydropower, we have wind, we have coal, and then a small chunk of this which is left is solar. So these numbers are not good. And when I took charge of the company, except for the top management or the directors, the entire team, the ex-colleagues, all the support partners were like, this is a wrong decision that the directors have made, and it won't last long. But thankfully, I'm very thankful to Almighty. He helped me a lot, and also to the top management. So managing a business is not a very tricky task. You have to take a holistic picture, and before you see the holistic picture, you have to make sure that you understand each and every function of the business. So I started from the very basic thing, how the sales are being forecasted, how the costing is done. So what are the major heads of the cost? How can we reduce the costing, and how to improve the profitability? So either you increase the revenues or you lower down your costs. We try to do both. We did excellent marketing through social media, through referrals, through banking network, through our own references to increase the pipeline. And in the last 2 years, we increased our pipeline from mere 6 megawatts to now 50 megawatts. So the numbers were a little bit outdated. So right now we have an installed base of 50 megawatts along with a sales pipeline of more than 100 megawatts in order. We did break even in 21. We did profitability in 2022, and now we did a bumper profits in 2023. Our net profitability grew more than 50 million PKR this year. And we're also aiming for doubling this amount next year. So it wasn't an easy journey, I would say, but as an entrepreneur, I was an investment banker. So coming from an investment banking background, my job was to make very fancy pitch decks, play with the numbers, But when it comes to entrepreneurship, I have realized that playing with the numbers, making a rosy financial model is not an easy task, but actually implementing is real more difficult. It's the actual groundwork, the dirty work that you do. And if we speak specifically for this sector, most of the vendors are based in the remote areas of Karachi. So you have to go to the Saria market, you have to go to Jodia Bazaar, Pan Mandi, Bora Peer. These are the names that I've never heard about. And when I went there, I actually saw that not only the people from the corporate sector, but also these vendors were like, they saw me as an alien coming in and asking for the prices and costing of the structure frames, of the cable trays, of all the consumables, electrical items. But this is the thing you have to do in the initial years, at least as a manager or as a top executive. And once I got hold of all the costing, then I empowered my own team. So trust, bonding, and teamwork are the three main ingredients of running a successful business. So you don't have to micromanage them. You have to trust them, empower them, give them the ownership. And today, if I won't be here in the office, my team is capable enough that they can manage a project easily, and that too in profitability. And in parallel to that, I would also thank PFAN and USAID, especially my advisor, Usman, Naveen, Amar Saab, Ghazil, Sara Walji, for helping and letting me chalk a business plan so easily, because I was thinking in unidirection. I was thinking about making a cost plus profitability model. But Usman, Ghazil, they diverted my attention and asked me to make another model for PPAs, to make a rental agreements, because once the solar industry would be saturated, I won't be left with many of the orders. So what if I make a 10, 15 years rental model? So that would bring in revenues for the next 10 to 15 years. And apart from that, they also introduced me to another mode of business, that is operations and maintenance. So once the solar would be placed on the rooftops, who will maintain them? Though we take the ownership, but what if we start charging them, and not only for the own base, what if we can start offering the same services to the competitors? I don't want to name a lot of big and reputable competitors that are working and have a huge installed base. But when it comes to the operations and maintenance part, a very few chunk of people and players are actually working towards that. So this is an entire game of after sales services. And we are working very closely. We have developed our own in-house platform. We are working on a software. We are working on a cloud-based database. And we are also working on mapping of all the clients, our own and our competitors who have a solar installed at a residence, commercial office, or factories, and the panels are actually cleaner or not. And then we have started to making one-page quotations along with the numbers, that what if they start cleaning those panels, what would be the numbers in profitability and savings they'll get in. So I must say that this platform has helped me a lot, not only grooming myself as an entrepreneur, making me understand business from multi-dimensional perspective, but also improving my pitch skills, my communication skills, and helping me a lot with networking with good people and a lot like-minded set people.
So thank you very much, Ms. Fareen, for giving us an introduction of your organization, your journey, and the wonderful advice, detailed advice that you gave in terms of managing a solar business in Pakistan, and also like some of the difficulties you are facing being a woman in the leadership role in a clean tech and solar company. And we look forward that more women would be joining this solar industry and renewable energy and clean energy industry in the leadership roles like you. So again, like other women entrepreneurs, you are a role model for many of the aspiring women entrepreneurs in the area of clean tech space of Pakistan. So now coming to our thank you very much, Mr. Shahryar and Ms. Fareen, for this insights into the renewable energy scenario of Pakistan and the way you are bringing about change in the rural electrification, or it's if we talk of rural electrification, or if we see in the solar PPA mode in cities with industries, with business to business models, both of your activities and your ambitions, they are commendable. And all of you have been part of the USAID supported PFAN PPSE project. So we are here to help you and help companies like you to grow. That is the yardstick of our success. So now coming to our last panelist, Mr. Mutahir Khan. Mr. Mutahir Khan is a CEO of Data Darbar. He is Data Darbar having a very interesting name. Apart from having an interesting name, it is working on very interesting issues, all issues pertaining to the financial and other aspects of the startup ecosystem. He has been working in the private markets in Pakistan. He has been working in the area of journalism, and he is supporting in the research and development in the area of startups, financing for startup, VC space, and mapping the startup ecosystem and related facets. So over to Mr. Mutahir Khan to give you an overview of the startup ecosystem and what your organization is doing in terms of managing the information and support to the startup ecosystem by way of research and development and by way of identification. So over to Mr. Mutahir Khan.
Thank you so much, Ahmad Sir, for the kind introduction and inviting me here. So I'll just first just give a brief about what we're trying to do. Data Darbar is basically trying to make access to private markets data more accessible to anyone. Basically, anyone who does sales intelligence right now or who's looking to grow their business, they can do it either by finding better leads or acquiring companies. M&A ecosystem of Pakistan is not that efficient, so growing sales is generally the only way, and most companies struggle to do so because there is an information asymmetry. So that's what we're trying to solve. But at the same time, we have a media and advisory arm where we try to create benchmarking reports and do deep dive analysis on particular sectors of the industry. So from payments and fintech to B2C commerce, we try to cover the most important areas of Pakistan's digital economy that we covered. And moving on. So, I mean, if we look at the overall startup ecosystem of Pakistan, it has moved in cycles. And those cycles necessarily haven't been correlated with Pakistan's overall macroeconomic cycle. There is no overlap necessarily. So in 2016, 2015-16 was the early wave. There were a couple of companies, and thanks to the incubators and accelerators, there was a relatively better culture of entrepreneurship, and then started picking up 2020, 2021. It picked up really well, and then right now it's obviously like everything else. It's very uncertain. But what is really happening is, which is sort of unfortunate, is that Pakistan's startup ecosystem has been to an extent reduced to just venture capital ecosystem, which is not necessarily the case in other markets. There are other forms of capital, which is where I think PFAN's work is very relevant, especially in sectors where there are sectors where VC is going to be the right form of capital, and there are sectors where VC will not be the right form of capital. And in 2021 or in parts of 2022, where there was relatively abundant venture capital, a lot of businesses that were technically not VC suited went for VC, and we saw the results, which were very comforting. So, I mean, that's where you need a different form of capital. Impact capital traditionally has plugged in a huge deficit, especially in other markets. In Africa, for example, has been able to tap onto the impact capital much better than Pakistan. In Pakistan, most of the capital in this space has been either mostly for infrastructure, and that too for government-related infrastructure. Private players unfortunately haven't had the scale to really unlock such capital. And part of the reason is that Pakistan, unfortunately, is a very small market, or the way it's executed, or maybe if it is a big market, the way it's executed is not right. I mean, there's something wrong that we're doing. And I think part of the reason is that most of the innovation, most of the startups in Pakistan, except for that brief window where companies had lots of money to subsidize discounts, almost all startups, or a large part of startups, and that has That has been the common theme across cycles. So 2015 onwards, again, barring a few exceptions, have been primarily focused on niche markets. They haven't been mass market products and entirely unrelated to this whole discussion. But let's say pick an investment app. In Pakistan, there are what, 400,000 accounts for mutual funds. There are 250,000-300,000 accounts for stock market, the unique identification numbers. So if a player comes in with a tech product, with an app itself, which requires lots of KYC in order to open an account and then actually start investing. An app just doesn't do it usually. Traditionally, this is where retail channels have come in. In Pakistan, we haven't had tech companies. Unfortunately, the mismatch between tech companies not using retail channels and retail primarily retail-driven companies not necessarily leveraging tech distribution properly. You have tons of examples. For example, Imtiaz, Chase, they're some of the biggest stores in Pakistan, some of the biggest brand names, but their digital outreach is not that big. And then you have the other end of the problem where companies have the right thing, but they don't have necessarily the right distribution. And we're somewhere stuck in the middle, which is leading us to nowhere, and that effectively hinders our growth. And companies in Pakistan which have in the recent past, which have sort of overcome this challenge and managed to grow fast are the companies that have figured out that distribution, right? Bikea is a very good example in the recent times. The last year or so, obviously, not withstanding, but generally, Bikea had managed to grow pretty fast, especially in Karachi, especially in Rawalpindi. They were one of the biggest players. They took on Kareem. They managed to come out still standing strong while Kareem struggled. And part of the reason was Bikea was playing with their franchise model very well. And their franchise model allowed them to leverage a lot of supply without taking the risk to an extent and reaching to the right areas. If they had entirely done, which a lot of companies tend to do, if they had entirely relied on a single channel of market or outreach, they wouldn't have managed to build that supply and a very loyal supply base. So this is one example. There are other examples. I think perhaps the best example in Pakistan's technology ecosystem would be PPSE, right? The way it managed to reach every single corner of Pakistan by leveraging Kiriana shops should be a case study, and it is a case study. And how to leverage distribution channels rather than breaking the deal. We don't need to. We can just, not everything needs to be fixed. There are some areas which are working well, and I think we have this habit of trying to leapfrog this, especially the technology ecosystem. There is this.
Okay.
I would say not obsession, but something close to that. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Batahir. Also, you have an insight, ins and out of the VC fund industry and the startup ecosystem of Pakistan. So very briefly, what is the one single advice would you like to give to the startups in the domain of clean technologies, EV sector to grow, whether it is related to access to funding or any other, or to being successful in this space?
I think, especially from a VC perspective, you have to be clear that your margins are VC margins. If not now, then in the future. That is the single most important concern, especially now for any VC that is looking to invest in any company in Pakistan. What they look for is the potential to be a huge business. I don't think that is in any question when it comes to the clean tech space in Pakistan. There is no doubt that this will be a big driver of the economy and will boast the large millions and billions to billions of dollars of market sizing. So I don't think that is in the second part is how do you manage to grab that part of the business and do it at a reasonable margin, right? In tech and VC, they require generally higher margins in theory than other sectors. And that's where traditionally, even with Tesla and traditionally, a lot of companies have relied on software. So at the moment, how good is your software and how integrated it is to the actual customer experience, whether you are doing B2B or you are doing B2C. Are your customers actually relying on software, or you just at the end of the day, let's say if you're doing assembly, are you doing more than assembly? What add-ons are you bringing in so that you are different and your brand name makes you stand out? And that is essentially what entire VC investment will come down to. There will be some sectors exposures, but I mean, right now, let's be mindful of the fact that no VC has a dedicated climate arm. I mean, there are a couple of VCs that are looking to raise, but no one has yet closed a fund dedicated to climate. So whatever capital that is being allocated to climate themes, it is also competing with other sectors, with sectors like fintech, with sectors like e-commerce, with sectors like transport and logistics. Though there is an overlap in transport and logistics and climate, but generally you're competing with that with the few dollars, and now it's very few dollars that we are talking about in Pakistan. So the only form of capital, unfortunately, at the moment is potential impact capital or some form of grant capital, which is unfortunately compared to VC, especially, it's less reliable in the sense that I mean it's more bureaucratic. It is far more bureaucratic than VC capital. It's trickier, and again, in grant there is far more competition than there is in VC space. So it's always trickier in this space in Pakistan, and that's so the only advice is try to get whatever source of funding you can get. Be smart with capital raising,
Okay.
and yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Matahir. So if you sum up what you have said, being based on your experience and your insight into this startup ecosystem, I would say there are three important messages that you gave to the startups in the area of clean tech. Number one is being unique. Second is showing good margins. And third is market size. And we have seen this thing as elaborated by our earlier speakers in the EV space, that there are millions of bikes, two-wheelers we have. So this is a huge size. There are good margins. And also many of our, in fact, all of our startups that we are supporting and SMEs that we are supporting, they are unique. So we are very much hopeful. We are very much sanguine that with your advice and with our efforts, these would gain will have access to finance and would be very successful. And it's evident with the success of the SMEs in our PFAN SME Accelerator and PFAN Mainstream that many of the companies, they are getting financing and they are going on a right trajectory. So thank you very much, Mr. Matahir, for giving us an overview of the VC scenario in Pakistan and the overall ecosystem, startup ecosystem of Pakistan. Now, this is the time for our Q&A session. Our Q&A session would be moderated by my colleague, Ms. Mavra. So over to Ms. Mavra for Q&A. And it's all of you who have any questions, as mentioned earlier, please input your Q&A. Input your questions in the question and answer chat box.
Thank you so much, Ahmad, for that. Just a little request, if all of the panelists could kindly turn on their videos, that would be really great, because I would love to put you in gallery view so all of our attendees can see you. So let's start off. We've been having quite a few questions. I'm going to start with Khurram Zafar, who is an entrepreneur himself, and this is geared towards Amar Yasser Saab, who is the Chief of Party of PPSE. He's asking if you can confirm if PFAN or PPSE has ever provided its assistance for a power generation project using cattle dung in Pakistan, and if yes, at what scale? Thanks.
Thank you. So as it stands today, our pipeline has 3 projects for bioenergy and 2 projects for biogas. So if cattle dung is mentioned, I believe the emphasis is towards biogas. So we have 2 such projects. One project is primarily focusing on cattle dung, and the other project is focusing on the chicken droppings. So, but both of these projects would be used for captive use, one in-house, and for the other project would be providing a captive energy on PPA basis to the companies with whom they are securing PPAs. So we are helping two such companies in the area of biogas.
Okay, thank you for that, and I hope that answers your question, Khurram. This other question is towards, I would say, towards PFAN and USAID as well, and even my colleague Hamad Saab. They're asking, first of all, they're congratulating for arranging such a vibrant exchange of information. Thank you. Question is that, is there a window for TVET graduates like diploma holders in technical and vocational training, or was there any experience with TVET during the project? Since we have been working for vocational education and training, green apprenticeships, internships, local technicians, etc., for almost 12 years, and one of the bottlenecks has been that most of the TVET graduates wanted to go for entrepreneurship, but only option was small microfinance. If something can be done in this regard, we would be interested to get in touch afterwards. I think if Sumaira from TAI Islamabad could also answer this question. Sumaira, would you like to go first? Because I think TAI has been working with TVET as well.
So in terms of microfinancing options and particularly catering to consumers in the rural areas, I think one of the formulations could also be where we can look at supplier financing, such as where, and this is to ensure, of course, that the payments are done smoothly, and of course the consumers also able to pay back the funds in an effective manner. And these could also be done via pay as you go, for instance, models, where it ensures that the banks are also secure in terms of getting the refunds back. Because one of the main concerns is the fact that in rural areas we know that the income frequency is not very streamlined. So this brings the higher risk of long frames of non-payments. So in order to sort of streamline that process, which allows security both for the banks and also ensure the availability of services to the consumers at both time, is one model that we can look at. Another thing is, of course, looking at community-based solutions rather than converging the burden of payment on one consumer, looking at solutions that are benefiting small segments of community, and then that way it becomes viable for the community to pay as a collective. For instance, when we're talking about, say, solar grids, for instance, so rather than going for options which are catering to a single consumer, making it not a very affordable option for them, looking at community grids which are funded by not just the consumers, but there are so many other supporters of that community that can bring in that financing that is required, and then of course then it makes it a viable option for microfinance institutions to bring in that kind of funding and providing those finances for those solutions as well. I've also seen that a lot of programs such as the TAI programs are bringing in those kind of again grant and donor funded financing. So again, that's not microfinancing, but that's one form of finance that is available to such startups, which are if these startups are then catering to rural populations, then that's I would say a very easy to secure and readily available form of funding available. So that could be one thing, that other than microfinance institutions look into those kind of grants funding, because as we've seen, there is a lot of push at a global level to address these solutions. So it is a good time. And I do remember that earlier on, there was this mention that definitely the VC funding is highly lean at this time and will possibly continue to remain so, which is why it's a good time to identify the kind of donor-funded financing options to cover these kind of solutions that are catering to rural communities. And I'll then, let Amar also contribute. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Samira. That was really helpful. Amar, do you have anything to add?
In my network, I know no electrician who is not offering solar installation services. So that is the baseline. So all the TVET graduates, if they have this knack for entrepreneurship, the opportunity is there, because currently the last mile installers are the one who are not even trained, properly trained, and that is one of the biggest challenge the PV industry has at the moment. And I believe Farheen can vouch for that based on her experience as well. So bottom line is this, that if they want to work with as an installer, it's not that much capital heavy as well. All they need is good expertise, certifications to undertake that work, connections with the suppliers. Interestingly, we are working with at least two projects in our pipeline are building to somewhat work with these last mile installers and bring an economy of scale for them, so that they can offer economical solution to the end users. So we can get the prospective entrepreneurs connected with those companies who are looking for certified installers who can use them as distribution channel. So that is an opportunity for them. And I will encourage all the TVET graduates to have the relevant certifications. There is a lot of appetite in the market to have solar system installed by certified installers with good quality. Thank you.
That's a really great point, and I hope people will take note of this. The second question is, I think, more towards the circularity, waste management startups and SMEs. So, Ali, if you want to take this first, and then I would encourage our other, entrepreneurs, Saad and do I see Zile? Yes, Zile is here as well. So if the three of you could take this on, Ali, how about you start with a question? And then Saad, and then Zile. So why is there not a greater effort by startups to get citizens to sort waste into different categories? I think this is a very relevant question to Pakistan's waste supply.
Did you want me to start, sorry?
Yes, please, if you can start.
So in a way, for me, there's reuse, recovery, educate, there's a whole spectrum of them. The reason why we don't have that, and is not my focus, is because in Pakistan we have a parallel economy which does their job. Secondly, compared to somewhere like a developed nation where there is less hands between your initial radiwala or waste picker, is that if I throw this bottle away, generally in Pakistan, in most households, the individual creating the waste doesn't deal with the waste, within the immediate, 10, 15 minutes of it, or, during the week of it. So our issue is larger on the infrastructure side, the recovery side, and the end life management side. So personally, whilst it's important, it's not on the greatest, priority spectrum for Pakistan, because it ends up there. In other countries, because we don't have the parallel economy functioning as efficiently, that problem is something that's a priority for most other countries. Whilst I think education at a childhood, primary school, middle school, and tertiary level is very, very important, so that the next generation is ready to have those systems in place when they arise and can be catered for.
Saad, anything to add? Saad or Zile, would you like to add to that? Okay, I think let's move on to that was really well answered. If Saad and Zile, I don't know if you're still with us. Okay, let's move on, because this is a really interesting question that I am actually very curious to hear the answer to as well. This is to the EV electric mobility panelists. The question is, next month, Toyota Indus Motors are ready to launch the first EV electric charging cars, first time in Pakistan. This is positive initiative for our country. How can we promote green economy and entrepreneurship in our country? I'm not sure how accurate this question is. I don't know if it's the first, but I think our experts can speak to this better than me. But I'm very curious to hear the answer.
So I
Anyone?
think, they're not launching the EV charging infrastructure. They're launching the first hybrid vehicle of Pakistan, locally made hybrid vehicle of Pakistan. So yeah, that question is not necessarily correct. But other than that, there are multiple efforts being done to deploy charging infrastructure for the higher segment of vehicles in Pakistan, and we believe that's the right approach. But that's how it's done in the US as well. So moving forward, the trickle-down effect will bring EV ecosystem to every segment of the society.
That's interesting. You said that. I feel like as a media professional, I see this quite often that in the startup and the SME community, oftentimes people just claim that something is the first ever without doing the market research as well. So I think this is also like a media blind spot that a lot of people want to pitch as the first of something when that's not really the case. Well, thank you for clarifying that, Talha. Um, Now, I'd actually like to move the question to one of my colleagues, Mr. SN Gilani, who is, a finance expert with a very impressive background, and he is the investment facilitation lead for our project. So, since this is more of an investment-facing question, I thought I would ask him. So, the question is, what could be possible models of partnerships through which microfinance banks could help finance the creation or use of clean tech renewable energy in rural and peri-urban areas of Pakistan in order to make it environmentally and economically sustainable for the consumers as well as repayment to the banks. So, SN, over to you.
Thank you, Maura. Indeed, a very interesting discussion and very interesting participants and panelists with acumen in a lot of different areas of climate change. Now, coming to your question, microfinance has a different network altogether. It supports only small businesses, which are not SMEs or which are not even semi-SMEs. They are startups at a very micro level. The microfinance scoping is somewhere between 100,000 to $500,000 to max, but it varies from countries to countries. Now, having said that, microfinance banks have the better reach out because they work in the rural areas, and they could be a very good instrument to promote climate change at the grassroots level. Now, how can they collaborate with the climate change? It's very simple. They need to make sure that their investments are done in a climate fund, which they should make together. The COIs, which are kept, which are separate investments, are totally based on a climate change revenue. So the same revenue could be then recycled into a debt to the businesses and projects which are promoting climate change in the microfinance network. Now, how would they find the seed money? Government of Pakistan owns microfinance banks like Mashwari Bank. HBL is one of the biggest banks in Pakistan. It owns First Microfinance Bank now, which is an HBL Microfinance Bank. And other than that, we have Kasha Foundation, which is now Finca, which is also a global sponsored by a global entity. These big players have to come forward first to supply the seed money for a microfinance bank, which is specific to the climate change financing. Now, once that seed money is provided, they will start extending credit to these small businesses. From that revenue, they can generate a fund of their own, as I said, through COIs or deposits, which will be only green financing oriented and are recycled back to the system, specifically the green financing projects. That's one thing they can do. Other than that, there is a lot of research going on, and as you know, that part of our job is to do financial capacity building, which we do through seminars with NAF. We are also working on an ESG-based training where we would like to suggest few projects which are specifically made for climate change projects in the microfinance and the SME sphere, which are only extendable to these projects which are doing the climate change. Now, these projects are basically designed in a way that they're not a burden to the lender to return, because they are going to be on concession financing base or hand-holding based lendings. And secondly, they'll be easier for banks to extend, because the credit criteria would be totally ESG and green financing based. So that these are the things you're working on. And lastly, I would like to just tell you that State Bank of Pakistan is now making mandatory, along with the Securities Exchange Commission, to have all the corporates and the boards of banks and private limited and public limited companies to have a specific director on board, which is green financing expert. This is a suggestion which is at the moment under discussion with the Ministry of Finance, and we expect that this will come into practice as well in the first quarter of next financial year, which will again give a lot of room to the green financing platform to extend financing for these projects.
Great, Essen. Thank you for that comprehensive overview of microfinance in Pakistan. I think that's very helpful, especially for budding entrepreneurs who want to work in the peri-urban or rural spaces. So the last question, and I think this is a more ecosystem supporter based. Yes, just one of our participants just wanted to add to what Essen Salve said. Shazia Atta is also working at a microfinance bank, and she's saying she works at HPL Microfinance, and she's saying that they play a great role in climate change and providing the financing facility for solar finance and other sectors through an easy process. So basically, if you are interested, I would also say get in touch with HPL Microfinance as well. Yeah, so back to the last question. This is from Shahab Raza Raja, and he's asking, is there any platform for mentors and technologists or entrepreneurs to form networks, or how to work together to identify opportunities and cooperate? So is there any platform like this available? Perhaps, Sumaira could speak to this.
Mutahir,
Or
I
Mutahir could speak
believe
to this for sure.
what you intend to do in future.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there is no platform, but we did build a platform not for EV specifically. We had a platform, we piloted it, we did not really scaled it honestly. But what we can do is, I don't know if I'm not particularly that active on WhatsApp groups, but I think this could be start of a WhatsApp group, which generally can be turned into a community relatively easy. From a technical point of view, it's very easy. But I don't like from mentor perspective. Like I have a couple of ideas that I think with Hamad Sab and Amar Sab, we are doing something. Hopefully, that will eventually give a very good idea of where to look for related to clean tech space. At the moment, I think WhatsApp is honestly the best bet. There is that is or events like events like this, right? So that's generally what you have. No dedicated community as such, like something similar to, let's say, what the Park launch does for the overall startup ecosystem, but that's again WhatsApp based. So I think whatever happens will eventually start from WhatsApp, as it happens anywhere in Pakistan for anything, and I don't think clean tech will be any different. And this is an idea for PFAN, I guess.
So, but there are parallels you have identified too. So, POC launch is there, Open is there, but interestingly, none of these is housed in Pakistan. But there is an opportunity in Pakistan for have such network. So we are looking forward to be included in the WhatsApp group without invitation after this webinar.
I think I would also like to add that, for instance, Amar, you mentioned that Open and Park Launch are based not, out of Pakistan. So I think that the Thai ecosystem is global. And with the chapters in Islamabad and in Lahore, I think that we can definitely, we are not core focused on, like we work across all industry verticals, but I definitely think that we can definitely, we would be happy to start a network or at least one small network which is focused on the climate, led startups or startups working in clean tech. And we have a very vibrant charter members community. These are people, these are highly successful entrepreneurs. We meet regularly, we host learning events. And I think that since this has been brought up, and we could perhaps look into, starting a network platform, at least to begin with. And the idea would be to create an opportunity for sharing knowledge, sharing opportunities, and connecting. And this can, then just grow as we move forward.
That's a really great suggestion, Mutahir and Sumaira. And I think that's such a great place to end today's webinar, since we wanted to talk about what kind of ecosystem strengthening do we need, and what kind of inspirational, for to the younger audiences, especially, how can we inspire them to start their own businesses? So I would like to profusely thank all of our panelists who gave us their time and insights and expertise, and especially our attendees who listened and gave answered asked such amazing questions. I hope all of your questions have been answered. Just going to take one last picture before everyone leaves. So if we could just have everyone smiling. Should we say Global Entrepreneurship Week, even though it's very long?
We can say clean tech.
Clean tech.
We
Good,
can
good.
say, yeah, I was going to say that clean tech,
Clean,
or we could also
Clean. I think maybe
do
just say
or
clean.
do
So we
clean.
get the
That's nice.
smile. Yeah.
clean.
Okay. One last one. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Have a great Friday and a great weekend ahead. Thank you. Take care.
I would really like to thank USAID and PFAN and all the amazing people who brought this event together. Many thanks, and this is so enriching, and we should have more of these. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much for all of your support, Samira. Thai Islamabad's support was really helpful. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.